Did you know that your interview is the single biggest factor in landing a job? So today we're just going to talk about how do you do that? What are the steps that you're going to work with? What type of interview you should do, the research process you do. This is the ultimate guide. This is the ultimate guide. So let us dive into it. So, how do we go about the first stage? How do we do this basically step by step? Just thinking about the guide. How do we secure the job from the interview? My personal viewpoint is we start with the research. Research and preparation is key. So, go through the company research. Take it step by step. Thoroughly research the company you're looking at. What are their mission? What are their values? What are their culture? Recent news? I think these are imperative, in my opinion, basically, to get your thought process, understand what the company looks like, recent news that have changed the company. For example, we see a lot of things going on in the news right now around different companies like AI company. If you're applying for an AI company, do some research on what's going on. Say NVIDIA, do some research. What's going on there? What type of things are changing? You can use the company website. I would recommend that. You can use LinkedIn. You can talk to hiring managers. Basically, reach out to them. Reach out to a team member on LinkedIn. Speak to them. See what's going on. Ask them questions. Review the job description. Very, very important. So just take your time and review the job description. Right. So I would say highlight key responsibilities that they're showing in the job description, required skills. Try to map your experience and your achievement to these requirements so that it makes rational sense for you that this is the right job you want to apply for. And start a document that you're preparing things like, for example, tailor your resume to the job description, whatever skills in your resume, all those things, your cover letter as well, making sure that the things that are necessary in the job description are actually documented. Okay, you can create a document, right? So your resume, your cover letter, those are documents you start preparing, making sure that all the required skills, all your LinkedIn profile is updated. There are a lot of people that are still just ignoring the idea that LinkedIn is a powerful tool just to help you organize and find the right and network with potential recruiters that are working in your industry. I basically say just starting in my opinion, just starting LinkedIn for those practical reasons, right? Just you can get informational interview to speak to a team member, find out what's going on in an organization and or even in the division or the department you want to work in. So you can actually create like a sample portfolio, right? I keep telling people a great way to probably differentiate yourself is to create a video of you doing some public speaking so you can identify with, okay, what is it like to be a public speaker? And that can also go on your resume in some regards. So again, phone interviews, really great. Video interviews are good. So start practicing that. It's a great way to just to get on camera and speak in front of the camera and just learn how to do that, and just go through that process, right? Understand the interview process. It's really good. I keep saying that, right? So if you know you're having a phone interview, practice phone interview. Figure out some questions that you have to get. How do you answer the questions? Ensure that you are in some environment that you can go to a quiet one, good reception before the interview starts. All those things. If you're going to do a video interview, I would say start practicing. If it's even create a YouTube video where you're practicing, or ask a friend or a family member if you can do an interview practice with them, basically. So don't wait until you get on the interview. Most people tend to be afraid to turn on their camera, not realize that they should. So make sure that you're avoiding those things by making sure that you have stable connection that day, internet connection, dress professionally, maintain eye contact, all those things on camera. But practice it, like really practice going through that with someone. And then the in-person interview, right? Obviously, you're going again. make sure that you're dressed appropriately. I personally think you should dress appropriately for all the interviews, whether it's a phone interview, a video interview, in-person interview. Obviously, the person interview, right? But people tend to not dress appropriately for a phone interview or a video interview. Right. So you might say, why the phone interview? They can't see me. But by dressing really professionally, you yourself, you now have this confidence about you. Oh, I'm dressed well. You feel it. You can feel it. So yeah, they might not be able to see you, but by you just putting on really, really appropriate clothing, you feel confident. You can display that confidence basically to yourself, which is very important. You can visualize yourself doing well in this interview, even though it's a phone interview. And about positive, pay attention about really good positive body language. Again, I would argue all three interviews, whether it's a video interview, phone interview, just keep a really good body language. Again, that helps you project a certain confidence, basically. So you're visualizing yourself completing this wonderful interview that you're on. Craft compelling questions and answers. So a lot of people sometimes focus on what the questions they're asking, but you can actually craft compelling answers. So again, you can do this on your resume, and then just practice those and make sure that okay, so these are the answers I'm going to have. They have your resume, and you can actually just like okay, I practiced these. So I would argue use this STAR method to help you. What is the STAR method? Some people are going to ask me what STAR method. It's basically a situation where you're looking at the situation, task, action, results. And what that does is help you have a framework for answering your questions throughout this, right? So the situation is where you set the context for something, like you set the scenario for what's happening. And then the tasks kind of help you saying this was a task that I had to do, and then what actions you took to basically solve it, and then what was the result. Highlight the result, highlight the accomplishment. And I would argue in when it's needed and when it's necessary, use metrics, use numbers to highlight the result. Again, not in all cases, but whenever it's necessary, I would say use number to highlight results. And practice these response. Basically, just practice these responses, right? So practice the responses. They're on your resume, and you're just practicing it. So if someone look at your resume, they're like, oh, this aligns with what he's saying in the resume or what she's saying in the resume and the cover letter. So I would really, really, really make the case of crafting compelling answers using the STAR method to help guide you as a framework, and then go through the process of saying, okay, what these are. Again, practice this thing with a friend, with a mentor to get feedback. So it's really good, right? You practice a mentor to get feedback, and this way it helps. This way it helps because sometimes you're not sure. I give you a scenario, so uh, I was working with this one person, and basically they weren't sure if what they were doing in terms of the resume, the interview was working, because they were like, oh, I'm not getting any feedback from, say, the companies. So they basically got a mentor to go over the question and answer with them to get feedback so that they can better prepared just in case. Even though I was there as a coach, they still wanted to find someone in the industry that was a mentor that could like go over. So and that's perfectly okay with me. As a coach, I encourage those things. As a career coach, I definitely encourage those things because the more support they have, the more that way they do it. And I can, if they ask me, I can go to and find a coach. But sometimes industry wise, they might know somebody that they basically worked with and can support that. So be mindful of those things, like really be intentional about how do you go about this. In today's job market, any advantage you can get, you should use it. So please make sure that you're thinking about that and going through it. Right? Ask insightful questions. This is where most people lose a job. For example, at the end of the most interview, they ask you, "Do you have any questions for us?" Right? And I would just make the case, and I said this to my students as well, and other people that I coach. This is not the time to ask about how much salary you're going to make. I mean, it's just like Please don't. How much salary are you going to make? No. What is my vacation time? No, that's not the question you want to ask at this point. You're going to get a salary if you get a job. You're going to get vacation. That's notable. That's great. That's fine. You really want to make sure during the research that you did earlier, you have some questions. For example, you can ask, I saw that the stock market is down over the last couple of weeks, 10%. Would that affect hiring, or would that affect the department I'm looking to work in? Pretty insightful question, right? So you want to drive home questions like that. Ask about the company. You can talk about, if you're concerned about DEI thing, you can say, what is your intention? If you're a person of color, you can ask that question, like, is DEI a concern for you at this moment, given what's going on? So you can ask these questions, right? Very thoughtful, insightful questions. So the interviewer is sitting there, this, wow, this is the person I want to work with, right? And then you can ask for next steps, right? You can ask about the hiring process and what are the next steps. Again, just drive home these wonderful questions. You can also ask about the role. So you can talk about questions like, okay, what does success look like for you in this role? You can ask these questions and they will kindly answer these stuff. So you get a better sense of what does this look like, right? You can ask about the team, like, please describe the team to me and how the team grow, what type of training that you do. So just think about very, very, very insightful and thoughtful questions at this moment in time. And I would really, really encourage you to follow up on next step. There's so many people who just ignore to do this because for some reason they feel like, oh, if they didn't do well, or they assume or they believe that they didn't do well for whatever reason, basically, so they just ignore the idea that they should follow. No, 24 hours, send out a thank you note, basically, just like, here we go. Thank you so much for taking your time. You appreciate it. Reiterate. This is the moment to reiterate your enthusiasm for the role. Like, really reiterate your enthusiasm for the role. Like, basically, you could even pull back something that is unique to you that the company would probably want to see, right? And if you think that you haven't heard from them like in 5, 7 business days, it's okay to send a polite follow-up email. There's nothing wrong with that. Just saying, hey, basically, and then if you can stay connected on LinkedIn with someone, basically, if it's appropriate and you can follow up with someone on LinkedIn, do so. Like, it's okay, or more than likely, what I would say is, if you connected with this person before the interview, because that's the time to do it, then you can maintain that relationship, and just over time, things can change, right? You see it all the time. I've known people. I think I was listening to this podcast recently, and this young lady said that she applied for a job in a consulting firm, and basically right after school, and she didn't get it. And then 2 years later, she applied again because she followed up with them, and then she stayed in contact with them, and then she got the job the second time around. So you never know, right? So don't believe because you didn't get a job in the first try, you're never going to get a job. It's just staying connected, staying in contact with them. And there are different types of interviews, and I just want to make sure, because a lot of time what I talk about is basically not technical interviews. But if you're a technical person listening to this interview, I would really encourage you to learn how to go through a technical interview, like do coding challenges, system design, technical concept. Basically, so I would really encourage you, if you're a technical person and you're listening to this, prepare for technical interview by just using ChatGPT to help you go through a coding challenge, some system design work, basically, and some technical concept. But I'm not going to dive too deep into this. Like I said, my area of expertise is not in the technical interview, but in terms of the soft skill, all those things, that's where I'm really good and a master of some of these things, basically doing this for a while. So basically, happy to help on that regard. And finally, um, be confident. Don't enter that interview with any limiting belief. Do your research. Have evidence that you are the right person for this job by doing your research, building your documentation, your resume, your cover letter, making sure that all these things, and then walk inside an interview and do it right. So be confident, stay authentic, always just be genuine. People are going to know. And if you don't get a job at this point in time, it's okay. Just continue improving, right? It's a 1%. This is 1%. Just continue to improve consistently. 1%, 1%, 1%. That's the way I would basically talk about this. And I want to make sure that you guys are understanding this concept right here. Just do that. Don't deviate from it. There are too many people out there today that are going through this interview process, and there's some limiting beliefs, there's some doubt going on. But again, just start with three things. Take away: do your research. Make sure you do the research on the company before you even have any conversation. Is this the job I want? Okay, great. Go find a job description. Go through the job description. Look what they're looking for, keywords, all those things. Do some documentation. Number two, start your documentation. Resume, cover letter. That's where I say to document everything you need right now. Resume, cover letter, just document it, make it looks good. Prepare it. Use the STAR method to have some questions that you're basically looking at these questions and said, here's how I'm going to answer the questions. This is the way I'm going to go. Use the STAR method to help you with that. And then questions that you want to ask, make sure that you have some really thoughtful and insider questions. I'm going to leave you with that for now. Thank you so much for listening. Hey, do me a favor. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe. That afford us the ability to basically get you really, really good content that is work for you, valuable to you. Until next time, have a great time.